Welcome in to Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and we've got a classic Texans Today mailbag on tap for you today. Wearing the Texans Hall of Fame helmet due to the amazing Melinda Allgood. All the questions that you see are from our live show, January 21st. We go live every single Wednesday here on Texans Today. If you are watching this live, use that hashtag Texans or Super Chat to get on the show. And all the questions, as I mentioned, are from our subscribers here on Texans Today. All right, let's go into the first question from JM Foots, hashtag Texans. Should Caserio trade for that Bills wide receiver that the GM trashed? Oh, my goodness. I'm glad you asked that because if you didn't see, it was absolutely hilarious. The Bills, they're looking for a new head coach, but their GM, Brandon Beane, he stinks. Yeah, and I think we have a tweet talking about that from earlier. He kind of threw former head coach Sean McDermott under the bus and also threw Keon Coleman under the bus. This from Joe Buscaglia. Probably butchered that name, but it's Buscaglia. Bills owner Terry Pagula just pinned the wide receiver Keon Coleman pick on the coaching staff and said Brandon Beane was being a team player and that Coleman wasn't at the top of Beane's list. He basically just said Keon Coleman's trash. The Bills owner just said one of their players sucks, which, stinks for Keon Coleman, right? Like, when you think about him, it's like, bro, at that point, you're like, get me out of here. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. If y'all don't want me, I don't want to be here. So, possibly a trade-off. I mean, at this point, what are the Bills willing to give up? I mean, a 6th-round pick, I'd give up a 6th or 7th-round pick for Keon Coleman rather than draft a random wide receiver in the 6th or 7th round. I would do that. But, I think it's really interesting because when you look at the Texans wide receiver room, obviously you're going to be getting Tank Dell back into this room. I don't know if you necessarily need a wide receiver, right? You have Jaden Higgins, who I thought, played decent for this Texans team. You have Nico Collins. Christian Kirk is going to be a free agent, but you also have Jalen Noel. So wide receivers not really a, big glaring need for this Texans squad. But I want to know from you. This is a great question, Reed. Good question here. What's your confidence level in the wide receiver room next year with Tank Dell coming back? And shout out to Tank Dell changing his number to number 1. Kind of swaggy. Even though I'm a little upset because I do have a Tank Dell 3 jersey, I definitely will be getting that Tank Dell number 1 jersey. Let me know, though. 1 to 10, what's your confidence level in this wide receiver room? 1, no confidence at all. 10, you think we have the best wide receiver room in the NFL? I'm going with a 7. I'll probably say 7. I think this Texans wide receiver room is going to get better next year, especially with Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel with 1 year under their belt. If Tank Dell can get back to the old Tank Dell, that number goes to a 9. If Tank Dell is anything like he was his rookie season and second year in the league, that number goes up to a 9. But just as is, I'll probably say a 7. And I think the Texans are pretty good at wide receiver going into next year. Melinda, all good. The reason why I'm wearing the helmet, looks like CJ will be our quarterback. Who do you think we draft in the first round? Good question, Melinda. I will actually be doing a first-round targets video later on. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you can watch all of our videos here on Texans Today. It's got to be an O-lineman, right? Like, I'm saying you go O-line unless there is a can't-miss prospect that falls down to you. If there's if somehow the best defensive tackle or the best linebacker in the draft or, the best safety, I don't think there's any way Caleb Downs would fall all the way to you. But if, one of the best players in the draft falls to you, sure, you take best player available. If not, you got to go offensive line. You got to build up the offensive line, especially, like you said, if CJ's back next year, you got to go offensive line. Maybe if the running back, I don't think Jeremiah Love will make it to you either, the Notre Dame running back, but you got to go O-line. You got to go O-line in the draft in the first round, Nick Caserio. Please go offensive line. Good question, though, Melinda. Next up, P-Ray, thoughts on bringing back Noah Brown? I just talked about the Texans wide receiver room. I don't think we need to add anybody in free agency. And Noah Brown, he was good with the Texans a couple of years back, but he has continued to have injury problems in the NFL. When healthy, Noah Brown, a great wide receiver. That's the thing. When healthy. He really hasn't been healthy, and you already have some injury concerns there at the wide receiver room. Tank Dell being one. Nico Collins has been injured a lot throughout his career as well. So I think, bringing back a guy like Noah Brown, it would be cool, but I don't really see the need to do that if you're the Texans. But good question, P-Ray. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Bingo Bappa coming in with the $5 super chat. What do you think we could do to keep our offense in line with our defense? I just mentioned the O-line. You got to get a run game. When you think of the best defenses and the great defenses that won Super Bowls, they had a good run game, right? The 85 Bears had a good run game. The Ravens in the early 2000s, they had a good run game. You got to get a good run game, and that starts with the offensive line, and then also getting a running back to pair with Woody Marks. I like Woody Marks, but I don't think he can be the feature back. I think he's a good, thunder lightning kind of guy. Why not bring in a Breece Hall? I think that would be a good option. Maybe draft another running back in this year's draft in the second or third or fourth round. I'd be cool with that, but I think you need to get a run game, especially like if Melinda said, if we keep C.J. Stroud, we need it. We need a run game. And that starts with the O-line, and that starts with adding more talent in the running back room to pair with a Woody Marks, maybe like a Breece Hall, maybe like somebody in the NFL draft. Thank you for the super chat, Bingo Bappa. Joe, #Texans. Would you keep the QB coach, Jerrod Johnson? This one's tough because Nick Caserio basically already came out and said Nick Caley's coming back next year. Cole Popovich is coming back next year. Somebody's going to be a scapegoat. And unfortunately, I do think that's going to be Jerrod Johnson. And it sucks because after C.J. Stroud's rookie season, he was getting offensive coordinator looks. A lot of people were looking at Jerrod Johnson, and I still think he's a good quarterback coach. And I wouldn't really blame C.J. Stroud's developmental issues on Johnson, but somebody's got to go. They can't run it back 100%. So it kind of sucks, but I do think Jerrod Johnson's going to be the guy that's the odd man out in that situation. We have more questions coming up in just a moment, but I couldn't do today's show if it wasn't for our amazing sponsor over on PrizePicks. The big game is almost here. There's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season out right with PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. There's a new feature alert. PrizePicks now offers early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. It's super simple. All you got to do is just pick more or less on at least two player stats. If your pick's right, you could cash in just like me. And if you need some inspiration, this is the lineup that I'm going with for this weekend to get into the big game. I'm going Drake May, less. Jarrett Stidham, more. I'm going Blake Corum, more. And then I'm going Cooper Kupp, more. You can use my lineup or make your own. Just do it with our friends over at PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Here we go. Drew Peacock, #Texans. If they don't start him, the Texans should trade Davis Mills. I don't love that. Why not keep? You already extended Davis Mills for this season. And honestly, for what it's worth, I'd rather keep. I know they didn't use him in the playoff game, so what's the point of even having a backup if you're not going to use him? But I like Davis Mills as a backup option for this team. And obviously, he can win you some games. He came in, won 3 games in a row to kind of get you kick-started on your playoff run. No, I'd rather keep Davis Mills, if you ask me. And like I said, I don't think you'd really catch that much in a trade for him, especially with other starting quarterbacks out there like Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa, Geno Smith, maybe even as other options in the trade market for quarterback. I don't know where Davis Mills stacks up with those guys, but I like this question too, Reed. Let me know. Will Davis Mills get a chance to start next season? Yes or no? I think it's a no. As much as I hate to say it, I don't think they're going to give if they're not starting Davis Mills in the playoff game after C.J. Stroud throws 4 picks in the first half, I don't think they're giving him a realistic shot to start next year. If they do, that means C.J.'s getting traded. Because no way are they keeping C.J. Stroud as the backup to Davis Mills. I just sucks. I don't think they're going to give Davis Mills an opportunity to start. But good question, Drew. Haziel coming in next. Do you think we are drafting O-lineman in the first round? If so, who? It's a great question. Actually, ESPN just mocked Caden Proctor, Alabama tackle / guard, and I would love that pick. He's super athletic, played at Alabama. We know D'Amico loves his Alabama guys. So I would look at Caden Proctor as a name the Texans could definitely take in round 1 at the offensive line spot. Miami has a couple really good offensive linemen as well coming out, but I think their left tackle is probably going in the top 10. Like I said, I'm going to drop a video of some round 1 draft targets for you later this week. Make sure to hit that sub button, turn on your notifications, because I'll be breaking down my top 10 options for the Texans in round 1. All right, next up, Amanda Pearl. What's up, Amanda? How we doing? Hashtag Texans. Chugs, I think we should do every whatever in our power to trade up for Kenyon Sadiq. He is a game changer and will help CJ the most. Funny enough, my guy Reed was talking about him earlier. The tight end out of Oregon definitely could be a name to consider. I think the O-line is such a big need. I don't know if you can go tight end in round 1, right? Like, I don't know if that makes as much sense with the offensive line being as much of a need as it is. I don't know if, tight end, if it makes sense to go that in round 1. But, if he falls to you, if you think he's that good of a player and if he's a game changer, maybe that'll help. Maybe that'll help as well. The Bubbas, and this might be a reason why they don't do it. Hashtag Texans, are you excited about Brevin Jordan? I am so pumped for Brevin Jordan. And honestly, if he comes out in balls this year, somebody make a movie about this kid. Because 2 straight years, I have named Brevin Jordan as a breakout candidate for this Texans team. 2 straight years, Brevin Jordan has gotten injured the very first game or right before the first game of the season. And it's absolutely heartbreaking because if you ask anybody who's been to Texans practice for OTAs, for training camp, Brevin Jordan's been a standout. He's been somebody who can be a game changer for this Texans team, and we just haven't been able to see it because season-ending injury 2 straight years in a row. So, yeah, the Bubbas, I am pumped to see Brevin Jordan out there for the Houston Texans this season. Adam Martinez, great word, Chugs. Thank you, Adam. Do you bring in a vet to compete with CJ, maybe get the most out of him in that way? We were talking about Davis Mills. I don't think it makes sense to bring in another vet behind Davis Mills and behind C.J. Stroud. If it was up to me, I would go ahead and draft a quarterback in the middle rounds of this year. Maybe a Garrett Nussmeier. There's a couple, maybe Taylon Green in the later rounds. There's a couple names that I think could be decent options to maybe push C.J. Stroud. I know people are saying Graham Mertz. I think Graham Mertz is a maybe career backup. Oh my gosh, Reed just pulled this up. You can push it across. No, I do not want to bring in Kirk Cousins. I would not want to bring in Kirk Cousins as a backup. But like I said, you already have Davis Mills. I hate this. I hate this idea. Hate, double hate, triple hate, loathe. I loathe this idea. Would not want to bring in any of these guys. The obvious option is Davis Mills. You have Davis Mills already, so you have your veteran option. I do not want to see Tua. Do not want to see Kirk. Don't want to see any. Leave Geno away from us. I'd rather just draft a quarterback in the middle rounds. To Kirk Cousins. To Tua. No, thank you. Texans fan. Hashtag Texans. Is it crazy that I still believe in C.J. Stroud? No, it's not. And every time I see a TikTok or an Instagram reel, and it has that song where it's like, like it's like a sad song, and it's like C.J. Stroud highlights from his rookie season, a small part of me starts to believe again. And maybe I'll get back to being on the C.J. Stroud train. I can't do it right now. I can't wrap my mind around C.J. Stroud, being the guy right now. Maybe down the road. I just need some more time to heal, Texans fan, because it's just like that game, this playoff run just took so much out of my love for C.J. Stroud because, man, pie in my face. I was a C.J. Stroud defender all year long. I was the one telling everybody in the office, no, he's a good quarterback. Trust me, guys. Trust me. And he made me look like an absolute fool. So, yeah, part of me still believes in Stroud. And maybe he turns it around next season and, we have a miraculous run with Stroud and he completes his redemption arc. Man, it's hard for me to believe right now. It's hard for me to have faith in C.J. Stroud. I know D'Amico, Nick Caserio, a lot of people do. And, when you look at 3 years in the league, 3 playoff wins, 3 winning seasons, I mean, it's great. But that playoff game has just left the nastiest taste in my mouth. And I just need some time to recoup and to really get back on the C.J. Stroud train. But good question, Texans fan. Bob loves Texans. Last question on the show. Hashtag Texans. Okay, I've heard a lot of Joe Burrow stuff, but as a Texans fan, fans know that Nick Caserio, so he could draft a QB second or third round, or is that still too splashy for him? You're saying could Nick Caserio draft a quarterback in the second or third round? Okay, I thought you were saying a second or third round for Joe Burrow. Yeah, I agree. No way the Texans are able to trade for Joe Burrow. I think if you offered C.J. Stroud and every single pick that you have the next 3 years, I think the Bengals still say no. I do. They are not trading Joe Burrow, especially like maybe if the Jets offered them 5 first-round picks plus, maybe. But we don't have that draft capital, right? We're picking in the late 20s. Our first-round picks aren't very valuable. Drafting a quarterback in the second or third round, though, is very interesting. We have 2 second-round picks because of the Laramie Tunsil trade. If a really good quarterback falls into the second round, like a Ty Simpson, maybe. Good question, though. If you made it to the end of today's show, make sure you hit that sub button for free Texans content all year long. I'll be coming out with more videos here on the channel, more mailbags, so make sure to tune in every Wednesday for our Texans Today live shows.